Welcome to the Higher Energy Superpower. This is episode
42
of the Turbo Duo Cast. I am your host, Salvatore Mata, and to my left is my brother from another game show lover. He's the oral assassin. He puts the ass in classic gaming. It's Trenton E. Wright the Third, Esquire. Welcome to the show, Trent.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
Welcome back for another stupendous episode of the Turbo Duo Cast.
I've always wanted to be on a podcast.
Yeah, well, you do an all right job. So
all right.
You know, and then returning as well.
Returning.
As ever returning.
The reigning, defending, universal podcast champion of the world, Salvatore Superstar Soccer
Speaking of which, soccer season is upon us. We are very, very close to soccer season as we record
long as
this.
It's not on August 28th.
We're about a month away.
It could be any day of the year.
August 28th or August 25th?
8th, 5th?
I think it's August 25th.
How about that weekend?
Yeah. That might be the first week of soccer. And it might be that Saturday.
Cool.
Well, we're not going to it then.
You're not going to what?
Not going to it then.
Going to what?
What's it?
Soccer.
Oh, soccer. Yeah. Well, I mean, soccer is important, but, you know, we have a lot of opportunities there. Not so many opportunities with the game show. And, of course, it is going to be game show season. We're going to come back to you guys with our next episode and talk about some of our gleanings and some of our hopes, fears, and worries.
And
expectations.
How many fears going into the show?
That will go into the Super Bowl that we know as RW.
That sounds like a personal problem for you.
What do you mean?
Your fears. Sir, this is not therapy.
Well, there's like there's a palpitation when you walk
somewhere else.
When you walk in, when the doors enter, there's an energy, it's like it's electrical.
It's a musk.
And you're just not sure what is going to result there.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
So it's exciting. And today's an exciting day because we're going to be talking about the Sega CD, some of the history of the Sega CD, some of our favorite games on the Sega CD, and we might even have a guest showing up later in the episode.
It'll be a shoot
to discuss it with us. We talk a lot on this
It'll
podcast
be a discussion
about people in our formative years that were a part of this whole adventure, and there were quite a few of them. And I think we had the opportunity to have one of them come up from Florida, where he now lives, a good friend of ours that loves the Sega CD. And so we'll stay tuned for that in the second half of this episode to hear more and see who our guest is.
And we have another special guest.
Who's the other special? Oh, we're going to have a special... Oh, we have another special guest as well.
We're not telling you.
A very famous person is going to be on the podcast.
We're not telling you.
At the same time. So you're going to get a double whammy of individuals that are going to be showing up on the show and giving their opinions. Or not. But with that, we're going to get into our first segment. Actually, before we get into the first segment... We did something last time that you guys saw if you watched the episode where we had a taste test. And so we're going to enter now what we call our Fago Break.
Fago
Break.
Last time we had the cotton candy flavor.
Oh, yeah. Which was actually pretty decent.
Which we enjoyed.
Yeah.
And even though it's after the 4th of July, sometimes we have the leftover soda product that arrives at some of the discount department stores,
Dollar Trees,
and Trenton, you just so happen to see it there. Do they have a section for Fago there at this store?
Most of them do now. They'll have like the regular like orange soda, cola, and
I remember Job Lot used to have it, and ShopRite used to have it.
Yeah. It's just with all like the carbonated drinks and juices and everything. I don't know. I guess they're in the Fago loop now.
Yeah. I mean, I love it because Fago does a lot of weird, interesting flavors. So we want to, as much as we can, if we can do some taste tests for you guys to let you know. That way maybe you can go to your local Dollar Tree. I imagine that if they're at ours, they're at yours, wherever you're listening to, if you're in the contiguous United States.
It's naturally and artificially flavored.
Well, you get the best of both worlds.
They put the firework flavor is natural.
So that's the natural part. Yep. The sugar is artificial, but the natural is the firework.
Yeah, and the freedom.
Yeah, so this is if you ever remember those Rocket Pops. You like those, right, buddy?
I have not had one in
You've n-
forever.
No?
No, but you've had one.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I have one.
you have Johnny Pops, though.
Yeah, but they're like that, but they're not like the Rocket Pops. The Rocket ones,
Actually, these look more like Johnny Pops than Rocket Pops.
yeah.
So I think we should just delve right in and give the people
This is what they want.
give them our perceptions of it, and we have to as we crack this here.
Right into the mic.
I didn't get that, but we're gonna pour this in. We're gonna give you a
Oh, I was wrong.
color review first. Oh, look at
I was
that!
right. It was clear.
No color. Some of us appreciate that.
Well, it has a color. It's not no color. No color would look like Sprite.
Was that all of it?
It's got a cloudy mix.
Yeah. So this gives off the vibes of like the Arctic Chill Powerade.
Or the Gatorade, the Glacier
Oh, the
Freeze or
Gatorade,
whatever.
not Powerade. But they make
Glacier
a,
Ice.
Dad, they make a.
So you can hear the effervescence. That tells you that this is a well-carbonated beverage. I can tell you
Smell the
if we can smell it here. Let's get a.
It smells like freedom.
It's definitely giving me that Rocket Pop,
Yes.
Johnny Pop, even a little bit of that, cherry glacier flavor, a little bit, from the Powerade stuff.
The freeze.
If you guys don't know what a Johnny Pop is, you can look at your local Big Y, because Big Y has.
Only if you're in
Yeah.
Connecticut.
Well, they have
Massachusetts, maybe.
it. Yeah.
Maybe.
So I know that it's
So your local grocery store.
somewhere where you live,
Yes.
somewhere.
Somewhere locally.
Anytown, USA. So, gentlemen, how about we take a little taste out here, Sal? You can take a first taste and give your perceptions to the people. Trenton, you take one as well.
Give it a nice swig.
Want to get a second one? Get a second
Sure.
one? Get a second one. Really, really feel it in your mouth.
It tastes like a
Pause.
Rocket Pop. It doesn't taste like a Johnny Pop. It tastes like a Rocket Pop.
Yeah, I don't know. It's alright. It's not a strong flavor.
But so wasn't the
I
cotton
know
candy.
The rocket. Yeah.
I like it.
I like the cotton candy one though.
I like
think
it.
better.
It does. It tastes like a melted down Rocket Pop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a strong taste. I mean, I could drink a whole can, I guess.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it doesn't have any of the colors, which is good because, the crunchy folks like us, we don't like any of the artificial colors. It just,
Oh, yeah. It doesn't have any of the dyes.
yeah, it doesn't have the dyes, which is nice. So, but it
Just
does.
corn syrup.
It just tastes like it, and it's got a nice carbonation. Really cold. You got to have it really cold.
Oh, of course.
Bang for the buck. I don't know how much these cost, but
Definitely.
$1.25 for a 4-pack.
I mean, I'd buy that for $1.25.
Yeah, Dollar Tree, you get a 4-pack.
That's awesome. I mean, that's got to be cheaper than most.
Oh, and there's actually I have to go there. There's a record store, Static Era Records in Milford. In their they have like a little refrigeration thing, and they have a bunch of different Fagos in there. So
Oh, really?
I have to go there.
Get one or
and
two?
Get one of the. They have the 24-ounce bottles. There was
Oh, that's
I
enough.
think I sent you. There's like they have a couple of the weirder flavors, so I got to go there and grab some for the
Sweet.
next time.
Is this a place you've known about
Yeah,
a
Static
while?
Era Records. Yeah,
in Milford?
it's a small. Yeah, it's a small record shop.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
really good.
You like it?
Dad, I know what a Johnny Pop tastes like.
You can speak into the microphone.
Yeah, but I know.
Don't tell me.
So that's not like a Johnny Pop.
Yes. it's
Why
really-
don't
it's
you
like a,
tell me? And the
it's like a-
Baja.
It's.
You want to know what freedom tastes like?
Whatever.
Why don't you fight in the Baja? You weren't there. I was.
Oh man.
You can't get freedom in a can.
I mean, you can't. I mean, it tastes like freedom.
No.
Well, you can take another sip, and then we're
Yes.
gonna be done.
No, it's amazing.
You're already bouncing off the walls.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So let's get into our next segment here. What are you playing, Trenton? Are you playing anything? You have any time to pick up the sticks and the game pads and plug in the cords?
We're talking about video games?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Very minimal, but I did.
How's your SCART doing?
Oh, which the Genesis one?
Sure. How's your SCART port? Is it solid?
On the T. It's
We got to get you one of those Bandridge switchers, because that'll save your TV too. You don't want to keep switching in and out.
What'd you just say? Oh, Scars Switchers?
Bandridge switcher.
Sound like a marble mouth right
You know
there.
what-
Bandridge?
Bandridge switcher. Bandridge switcher.
Yeah, it's like a SCART selector.
The
kind of
SCART
thing.
selector, yeah.
But I mean, I only have the one SCART. I don't have any. I mean, I only use it right now on obviously on the Genesis and the Jaguar because it uses the same thing.
Oh, so you're not switching it?
No.
You're using the S video for your Super and your Nintendo 64?
Yeah, I don't have a. Well, I'd have to modify those, right?
Not the Super Nintendo.
No.
No.
To use the SCART.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a SCART for that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So right now I'm just using the S video. The one because I had the S video for the 64 and the Super Nintendo.
Do you have an NS1 64 that you could send to Marcelo?
Yeah, I do.
Just get the simple. Just get the simple mod.
Maybe the next time.
Yeah.
Because I have a few things. I still have to send to my game
Well,
gear.
there's always things we can send
I know.
to Crossface Gaming that can get fixed.
I can only do one at a time.
No, I know. One at a time, player.
Yeah,
so what are you playing?
We mentioned it on the previous episode, our thoughts on it, but by the time that one came out, it is already out, and that is AEW Fight Forever.
Yeah.
On the PS4. So I had pre-ordered the game. I think I mentioned it before I even.
I think it's fair game. It's fair game to talk about this game.
And I before I even had a PS4, and then I ended up finding a PS4 like a week before the game came out. So yeah, this was the first game I pre-ordered, and a modern game in like over, I don't know, 8 or 9 years when I had like the Wii U.
Mm-hmm. The best modern console of all time.
What?
Wii U.
Oh, well, okay. Opinions are fun.
They are.
But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of hype around it. Then there was also not a lot of hype around it because people were kind of
weird, right? I know,
because it had been delayed so long, and there was like
it's kind of like when you walk into RWX and you're not sure what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, like I talked about.
Yeah.
That was that feeling.
Yeah.
Is this going to be good, or is this going to be
really? Yeah.
Is this going to let me down so hard that I'm going to just crawl up into the fetal position, cry myself to sleep, wake up, cry myself a little bit more?
Well, okay, that's enough.
Not eat anything.
All right.
Yeah, the list goes on.
Yeah, but I mean, because I got.
So what happened?
I got into the hype where I was like watching like every time like a new video came out about it, like ooh, a new little thing came out about it.
You'd have like a chill that would go down your spine, be like, oh no,
like,
there's another one.
Someone's got a test copy. They just played it for like an hour and they got their thoughts.
I love that trend. I love the that vigor and feeling and that palpitation and that energy.
So yeah, I bought into the hype.
Hook,
mainly because
line and sinker.
Mainly, I was positive like throughout the whole thing because I don't like the WWE games at all. So I was like, it has to be. Like,
nobody really does.
At least like playability
they
wise,
play it because it's the only thing that they can play.
I was like, at least playability wise, I knew I was gonna like it better than that, and so I already considered that a win.
Yeah,
in a way. But yeah, it's like I'm like 50-50 on it. I mean, I love the gameplay in it.
Are you more like 75-25?
Yeah.
I think it's better than 50-50.
Well, no, I know, but like you get influenced by what other people are saying about it, and you're like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But like the playability is great.
How do you feel when you play it?
No, it's fun, but you know after a little while you do realize like it is lacking in some of the modes. They didn't put like a ton of like there's not like a steel cage match.
I mean, they can add those things.
No,
I guess.
know, but that's kind of like the ongoing thing right now.
Okay, but wait a minute, hold on. Because here's my thought on this, right? They wanted to get this out. It took plenty of time to, but now they can refine it. And probably what they're going to do is you had WCW NWO World Tour. You had Revenge. You had WrestleMania 2000. You had WrestleMania. We had WWF No Mercy. So they're going to continue to iterate on this to the point where they're probably going to enter all that stuff into the game. Business sense, right? I mean, they want to make more money.
No, I know, but that's kind of what's been going on right now. Like, so when they came out, there was a lot of bugs. Like remember what I told you?
Yeah, you couldn't.
For some reason, if you were connected online to your PS4, like you couldn't even like play the game. Like
offline.
Yeah. If your console was connected to the internet.
So weird.
So they had to do that patch. I haven't even tried to play online, but I've seen people complain. It seems like there's not a lot of people playing online.
Okay.
Allegedly.
I mean, I'm not afraid of that because a lot of the people that are buying this probably want it for that No Mercy feel. They don't want to necessarily go online.
Yeah, I never really
play with a bunch of people. So I don't think that necessarily, speaks to the success of the game itself.
Yeah.
But then that zeitgeist can get in the way of people actually enjoying it and buying it. That's the thing I would worry about more than anything.
Yeah, I know it is a thing they said from the beginning that like this is a game that we're planning to build on and not release like new games like every year. Like it's going to be this, and they're just going to keep building on that.
Oh, really?
Allegedly, but it seems now people are kind of like iffy on it. It seems like they delayed some DLC stuff that was supposed to come out. Now they don't have like a release date like set for different DLC. But they did announce that like Fortnite style,
I saw
the
that.
Stadium Stampede,
Yeah.
which I mean it looks fun. So I hope that's going to be a free DLC. I can't remember when they announced. I don't think they announced the actual date for that.
How's the character building single player
So I haven't even had time to do like the campaign mode. It is modeled kind of around like a No Mercy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like crazy in depth, but I mean, you know, I haven't tried it yet, so I can't say personally how it is.
I mean, I'll
I've
say
I've only done, every time I play, I'm Penta, and then I do like the casino battle royal. You know,
Yeah.
That's like I still think that's like the best type of match, especially if we only played with 2 players the other day. But I mean, if you have like 4 people playing that, I think that's like the most enjoyable like part of the game.
Yeah, well, one of my controllers is in the shop because modern controllers can't seem to stay straight for some reason. But from what we played of it, like it definitely gave me those THQ Aki feels, from those games back in the day. It just has that quality. I love the aspect that this kid here could play it. Like a 9-year-old could pick it up and figure out the moves. It's like, okay, this button throws him.
Punch,
this button grabs him.
Wait, did you like it better?
Yeah.
Than the WWE, the 2K game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's just easy to get into, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
It's more fun.
and honestly, like the action of it looks really good. At least I don't know, on the PS5, I thought it looked.
Yeah.
You're not, you're not gonna get like that super ultra realistic.
No, I don't think there's any difference between the PS4 and the PS5 version.
That's great then. I mean, I just think that I like the character models. I think it would look good still if they tried to go ultra realistic, but I don't think it would lend itself to that retro look like we're going for. And I think they really found a nice middle ground. And the sound is the one thing that really ties it all together, because like when we're you're in the hits, and then you're in the match where you're throwing them up against the electric fence.
Oh yeah, the barbed wire match.
And you can hear like the crackling and the popping, and it's the right level of volume to make you feel like you're it's adding to the experience.
Yeah, it has all the crowd chants and everything. And we didn't even really play that long. So like, especially when you start getting like all the weapons and everything, like
I was like,
where's
the ladder that I can just shove across somebody's face,
And when you find Darby Allin's skateboard, and you can ride the skateboard all around the arena. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I probably only gotten to 50% of the game. So, but I mean, I've enjoyed it so far.
Is it worth the asking price?
If you're someone like me,
that's what I'm saying. We're not talking about the new gamer who's playing Fortnite.
If you're someone like me, I think so. But
the classic retro gamer who enjoyed No Mercy back in the day, 4-player.
If you didn't pre-order it, then I'd probably just wait maybe like another month or so, see like what DLC they put out for free or what they plan on. Because a few weeks ago, they went on Twitter and they were asking people to send us like all your comments or what you want us to fix.
That's cool.
Or
So
what
they're
they
open
literally
to
they
the
made
community.
like a spreadsheet thing, and they took everyone's requests and like, oh, these are all the things we're going to look at. We can't guarantee everything's going to get.
I like the transparency though with the community.
Yeah,
that's
everything's
good. That's
going
a
to
good
get
thing.
addressed, but we're going to work on certain ones. So I have trust in that they'll keep updating, and like we didn't even play any of the mini games on it either. So there's like Mario Party style mini games on it.
Oh really?
Yeah. So if you unlock more by doing the like the career mode. There's like 40 mini games.
Super Monkey Ball.
Yeah, there's like 40 mini games. They're actually pretty fun. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that's something for everyone. I would definitely. I'd pick it up. I'd wait maybe another month or two.
But overall you're happy with the purchase.
Yeah, for sure.
Good. I mean, we've been waiting for this, right? I mean, we've been waiting for decades now to have a game. Literally decades, 2 decades. We've been waiting for a game like this.
Yeah,
and we finally have it, and we're still kind of like, okay, let's see what they do with it. But I think it's promising. I think it's really promising what they've done, and I know that we had a lot of fun just playing the short time that we did with the little guy.
Yeah, so I would say if you're not a fan of the WWE 2K games, I would give this a try.
Oh, definitely.
But just don't expect, as of right now, like the level of detail in modes and create a wrestler.
You know what? The best way to explain it for somebody who hasn't played these games, didn't play them back in the day, but maybe played some other stuff, some other retro stuff. If you've ever played NBA Live, like the new one, or like the NBA 2K games, but then gone back and played NBA Jam, or if you ever played Madden and you went back and played NFL Blitz, this is sort of the equivalent of going from a WWE, which is like super simulation, to more arcadey style and just over the top fun. And if you're into that, which is what video games really are, and what they should be about, that's the other thing is like, you play video games to have fun. And if you want to have fun, this is a game to get into that you don't need to learn a million controls, and it's just fun. I'll play NBA Jam and NFL Blitz 100 times before I play Madden and NBA 2K.
I don't even own a Madden. I mean, I think I have Madden on Super Nintendo, and that's it.
But those are great. Those are more arcadey, those Madden games. So
it's all Blitz.
So, well, I'm excited. Maybe Trenton, you can give us a little update as the podcasts go on, or if you have some updates on the game, because this is a retro game in all intents and purposes. I mean, this game was created for retro gamers and people that have retro gaming proclivities.
Oh wow!
So that's pretty much where your time has been focused?
Yeah, and it's not even that much. I mean, I also have another heaping helping over here.
That's going to be a combination what you've been playing as well as.
I mean, I've only played it once since I got it.
That's okay. All right, so we can
roundabout back to that.
Yeah, we'll save that. So I've been playing a few things. Of course, I bounce around a lot. I'm not sure if I talked about this on the last episode, but I finally beat the Nintendo Entertainment version of Super Mario 2.
Oh, no, you told me that, yeah.
Yeah, a few weeks ago. And, after beating it, I have a new appreciation for it. I still think it's probably the hardest of like 1, 2, and 3, I would think. The hardest game to get through. And, but it's a really good game. And if you like Mario games and you haven't tried it out, there is the Super Mario All-Stars version of it, which is a little bit more friendly because you have save states, essentially.
Oh, okay.
That every time you beat a world, you can save. And that's originally how I beat it. But I never beat it as a kid. We owned it when I was a kid. And
so you beat it on the Mario All-Stars version?
When I was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, listening to Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson.
As you would when playing that game.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. Michael Jackson had a heavy hand in my Super Nintendo playing back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah. We can get into that another time. But really cool animation at the end when Mario's like waking up from his sleep, and they show him
all a dream.
They show him snoring.
It's all a dream.
Spoilers if you haven't played through Mario 2, Mario is dreaming, or is he? Or is he? But his like breathing, and you see like his mustache sort of increasing and decreasing. I do have a little video that I took of it, so maybe we could splice that in.
Nice.
But yeah, really fun game, and good stuff. So I got through that. I did play. Sorry to disappoint you guys, but we talked months ago, beginning of the year, about GoldenEye, and The World Is Not Enough.
Oh yeah. Well, things change.
Right.
Plans changed. Is that talking a dream?
Is that talking to Dusty Rhodes?
Oh no.
The Macho Man's talking to Dusty Rhodes.
I told you last night with Meltzer.
Oh, that's right. Meltzer says plans change. Maybe for you, Meltzer.
As a Easy E calls him, the useful idiot.
Oh, that's right. Easy E, gotta love Easy E. So I've been playing GoldenEye a little bit.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Oh, in preparation H for possibly
doing
the episode.
Yeah, and so I won't give it away, but I came away with a different perception of the game after playing it, having so much time go by since I played it as a kid.
You haven't even played it since then at all?
Not really, no. Oh. Just a little bit. I don't know. My brother Tony was here, and we were playing some one-hit kill, deathmatch.
Yeah.
But, actually going through the campaign and playing the campaign, there were some things about it that I was like, man, I didn't even realize this was the case beforehand, unless I just forgot. But that would be kind of cool to go into it, because now I've played a couple of levels of both games, and they're a little bit, it's interesting enough. They're close enough, but not to be able to kind of do a little juxtaposition.
Well, yeah, obviously I guess we'll get into it. Obviously one's better than the other.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting conversation because you have the champ, and then you have like this contender in a way that came after. So it is an interesting conversation.
The Forgotten.
Playing a little Star Fox. So keeping it Nintendo.
SNES?
Yeah. So usually we're on the Sega side playing games, but I've been playing some Super Nintendo, been playing some Nintendo, been playing some 64.
I had that fever to play some. I was like, I really want to play some Super Nintendo, and then my
right?
Nintendo didn't work.
I know.
I was like, oh, cool.
We have like 4 of them here. You can take one.
We got 4 of them here.
We've amassed them, including the little guy.
What, I have one?
You have your Super Nintendo in your room?
Do I have?
You have more systems than anyone.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
That's
pretty straightforward.
All right.
I have a Nintendo.
Off the rails, guys. We got plenty of time to get off the rails the later part of the show when our friend shows up, which we'll see how that goes. So Star Fox. Forgot how awesome that game is. It's an awesome game.
I mean, you can't forget how awesome it is. You always know it's great.
Okay, you know it's great, but then when you have that tickle inside of you as you're playing, that little tickly feeling of
right on the bottom.
This is where I want to be right now. You know that feeling where you're like,
good luck.
This is where I want to be, and I want nothing to do with anything but this. That feeling that you get when you're playing a game, I got that playing Star Fox again, and I was like, man, we should talk about this game, but maybe not. But it's
all in due time.
Star Fox was such a cool game and was a breath of fresh air for the 16-bit. I don't want to say wars, the 16-bit generation, because it was something new that was sort of gimmicky, but also was.
But it worked.
It worked. It worked really well.
It was. It definitely was a gimmick, but it worked.
Sometimes gimmicks work. Look at the Wii.
Yeah.
Right. So that's been a lot of fun. And then just the other day, I started playing
Fantasy Zone,
and specifically Fantasy Zone on the TurboGrafx 16. And I'll tell you what, man, that game was made for that turbo button.
I'll tell you. Oh, okay, I got you.
Because you hold down that
fire,
and it's not even rapid fire. It's like just like a laser beam. Like that's how fast.
It just looks like one.
It's like
shot, one continuous shot.
It's just over. Yeah, and it makes the game playable because otherwise the game is usually really hard. I got to the second to last level. I got to the second to last boss.
I remember playing it like
it's so good
once on the on the NES. I think I had rented.
That's a good version.
I think I had rented it from Stop and Shop.
I don't know how the turbo works in that. Like if the turbo is like just like it is in the TurboGrafx.
I mean, I have no recollection of like how it plays or if it was.
Do you have it still?
No. I rented it from Stop and Shop Video back.
That might be one game I want to try to pick up at the show.
Isn't that a Tengen one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the
I might want to pick that up if I can and just see because
just to see how it plays.
We got the 4-score. I'm sure it's not that expensive of a game.
4-score? What? It's
the 4-score for the Turbo Fire.
Oh, you mean connected to the control? Oh,
okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. And just see how it. Yeah. How it works, but that's a good version. All of them are kind of good. Like the Master System,
TurboGrafx version, then you're just going to be playing a watered down version of the game.
I know, but I don't know. Sometimes I like to have
I know. See how
different versions on different systems. Yeah. So, but just a blast to play. Like it's a really good shooter that's more in that defender mode.
Yeah, because you can kind of just go anywhere on the screen.
You got to kill the little.
Oh yeah, speaking of that was the
generation
other game. That was the other game I played. I wasn't
generators
playing, but I played that one night on the Jaguar Defender 2000. Remember I sent you? I was like, I finally got a high score on it.
Really good, right?
Yeah.
I love Defender. I love Milk Mine Defender.
Yeah.
Cats getting milk, right?
Yes.
So we've been playing games. Hopefully you guys have been playing some games.
Yeah, who doesn't play games?
Yeah.
Well, I don't play.
I'd say put a comment down of what you guys have been playing, but you guys are you're ignoring us. You don't love us anymore.
We get one comment.
Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah.
Sam, where are you?
Sam, where are you?
So let's get into some pickups. What do you guys think? You get some pickups?
I don't have any.
That's okay.
You live vicariously through everyone else.
Yeah. So you can critique the pickups that we got.
Everything is a pickup.
Now, if I may, Trenton, I'd like to get through this stuff here, and then you can talk about your stuff.
Whatever order you want to do, baby.
This will be pretty
baby,
quick.
It's all for you.
So the first game that I picked up, keeping it Nintendo. I found this over at Retro Junk. Our good friend Brandon Farr, friend of the show. He had this little number that I had. Ooh, I like what you did there. And this is a game I owned as a kid. So you got to get those games that you had as a kid.
Like Technocop.
Techno Cop, right? Not a great game, but at the same time,
I had it.
you had it, and you can sort of try to get through it, maybe.
Yeah, you could just play it, and
It's hard, though.
Yeah.
It's a hard game.
War of the Gems.
The game is Marvel Superheroes in
get it
War
right.
of the Gems for your Super Nintendo Entertainment System. A very late release for the Super Nintendo. I remember back on the my first magazine, I think, first or second EGM that I got, there was a advertisement on the back that said "Flex some 16-bit muscle."
Yeah.
And it had the Marvel characters coming out, and it's sort of
It's on a 32 meg cartridge.
the best way that I can explain it is a beat 'em up on a platformer game.
Now,
It's kind of what is kind of.
I remember you
how it
told
is.
me you got it, and I was like, I think it's supposed to be pretty good. And then
Yeah.
did you say it wasn't, or
So SNES Drunk reviewed it and said he didn't like it as
kinda
much
slow.
as there's another game in the series
I
that,
have the first one.
that he likes better. They look kind of similar. I never knew of the first one though. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, I have it. I don't remember what it's called. It's X-Men something or whatever.
Yeah. But this is the one that I had. I enjoyed playing it. The character sprites are huge.
Yeah, I know.
On it.
Very
So,
colorful game though.
yeah, it's you know.
Have you played it since you just got it right now?
I just briefly. I wanted to test it, make sure it worked. I haven't really delved into it too much, so that's why I didn't bring
I
it
never
up.
got. I think.
What are you playing?
Man, I want to say Steve Kilgus had that War of the Gems.
Did he?
I think, or it might have been the first one.
Steve, hit us up.
but
Steve, I know you looked at me on LinkedIn. I know you looked me up on LinkedIn. I saw that you were looking me up.
You could saw?
I could saw it. I saw it. As we used to say at Wyndham High, I saw it.
I seen him.
I seen it. Now, Steve, you better comment on this video.
He's not watching.
All right,
Unless I tell him.
Musin, if you talk to Steve, tell him to comment on this video.
Shut up, Mata.
That's not what he said. So War of the Gems, check it out. Watch a video on it. SNES Drunk's got a video. Give it a look.
Well, I can definitely say this: it's better than X-Men on the Genesis.
We're not talking about X-Men on the Genesis anymore. This is a little number that I've been looking for. I have the sequel on the Sega Saturn, and I was able to find this at our local watering hole.
Ooh,
And that is Beyond Oasis.
you found it in a
for
well.
the Sega Genesis, sort of.
You were bringing the bucket
Yeah.
up, and you're like, "Oh, wow, this is my Oasis."
Yeah. Only problem with this one,
No manual.
no manual. So as we get to RWX, that's going to be one thing that if I find it, I might have to just bite the bullet on it. You know?
Well, I got to look up the prices on price charting first. Never mind.
I might just be like, whatever. Because it's like, what am I going to do?
I know.
And it's one of those games where you really kind of want to have the manual.
Yeah, no,
You
I
know?
got you.
If you can. I don't think it's going to be that crazy to get the manual. Maybe $20, you know?
What is it, like an $80 game complete?
Yeah, something like that. So, but it's, one of those cardboard box games that it's hard to find it in good shape.
That was a later release, though, right?
Much later, 95, I think. Yeah.
Oh, and actually, speaking of just, I actually a couple weeks, maybe like a week or two ago, I picked up the box and manual for Light Crusader.
Oh, you did?
$17 shipped
No way.
from Canada too.
Really?
Yeah, it came in good shape.
Oh, man, I need to play some Light Crusader, man.
Yeah, it's one I had the cartridge on forever, and I was like,
So you got it complete now?
yeah, $17
nice.
for the box and manual. Yeah.
Nice. So we'll,
Put that right
if we can, if I can. Oh, I blew it.
there. Come on.
Here, pick it up.
Come on, man.
There we go. Put Chica back.
Have you ever played Beyond Oasis?
No.
No.
It
It looks like a. I mean,
the closest thing I played was Landstalker, and that was at Musin's house.
Oh.
So
I have that. That's one I
Landstalker's good, yeah. So
yeah,
both the sequels for Landstalker and Beyond Oasis are on the Saturn.
Yeah. Beyond Oasis. I remember seeing the screenshots of it. Definitely looks like a colorful game. Very vibrant.
Yeah, it is. They're sort of that hidden gem type of a game.
Is that like a action RPG?
Yeah.
Like you just
Both
kind
of
of
them
free
are.
roam around,
Yep.
just hit whoever you want. And
So
then, like a
Beyond
Zelda.
Oasis and Legend of Oasis are sort of like Zelda types.
Yeah.
Sort of like a top-down, room-to-room sort of thing, and,
Yeah.
adventure.
Like I would never have the time to play that, but that's the kind of RPG I like. It's almost not really an RPG.
Action RPG. We call them action RPGs. Yeah.
Like that's the kind I would play.
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing too in-depth.
I just don't like the turn-based fighting.
That's not turn-based.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
I don't think Landstalker is either.
No. I'm just saying that I'm just not into those like
Yeah.
RPGs, turn-based fighting and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But if somebody's playing it and you're there, you're kind of into it,
Yeah, I gotcha.
you know. So here's the last pickup, which is as
Oh,
you
you
guys
bought
can.
some mason jars?
Yeah, I'm a big mason jar aficionado. Do you know that there's people that have like glass collections, like
Yeah.
not glass, but you know those old
Uranium?
electrical caps that
Yeah,
were
yeah,
on
yeah.
the. I don't know what you call those, but
Yeah, they're the bulb. They're they look like a sphere kind of.
yeah,
Yeah, they used to sit on top of the electrical.
the electrical
poles or
pole.
whatever.
So
Yeah.
people are into that and they collect them
Yeah.
and trade them and
Just like the old bottles and stuff too.
yeah, like our friend Michelle, her father Phil, he's like crazy into glass. Like if there's a glass show, they have like these glass shows and
Yeah.
crack glass and ball jars and all this type of anchor hocking.
Oh
you know?
yeah. Fire King.
Fire King. Well, I mean, Liz is into the Pyrex stuff, so that's a big deal.
Get out of here.
So here we go. So we've got a package in
Pause.
front of us, and so
It's
we're gonna
mystery. No one knows what
Pause.
this is.
yeah. So we're gonna do a little unboxing here for you guys, and I'll try to describe it for the people who are at home on their
Audio only.
on our audio only
Or he's
version.
taking the scissors.
Does Spotify has video, right? But ours is not. It's just an audio version, right?
I can't tell you. I know Joe Rogan has his podcast
Right,
on there,
right.
but I don't know.
Most people don't, right? Mostly it's audio only.
I've literally never watched a podcast on there.
It's like Twitter now. They're doing some video stuff.
Well, Twitter. Yeah, well, Twitter's kind of always. You can always upload video. I've never watched a video on Spotify. So I'm assuming anyone can do it. I've never looked into it. So
Yeah.
I guess I should. I just never heard. I don't know anyone that just is like, oh, here's I watch it on Spotify.
Right.
It seems like just Joe Rogan because his is exclusive to Spotify.
Yeah.
So that's the only way you can watch it. So obviously people are going to watch it on there. But
Yeah.
like, if everyone's already on, if it's on YouTube, they're going to watch it on YouTube.
Right.
Because I don't, at least on like YouTube, you can kind of minimize it and still have it playing.
Still have it up. I love that
And,
feature.
I don't know how it works on Spotify.
Yeah.
Maybe it does do that. But anyway,
So a little kind of like disclosure here. So I've never opened this, and I've had it now for like 3 weeks waiting to record. So the sale is complete. So there's no going back from this. So
it's a Mercari.
I don't remember now.
Well, I mean,
If
Mercari.
if it's eBay, what is that? What's the deal?
eBay's 30 days. Mercari, you have 3 days.
Okay.
So you got 3 days to open it, say whatever, and then you can review them or just automatically
All right.
use it, and
Well,
then you're stuck
there's a
with it.
chance that I won't be able to return this. Okay. So we're gonna go with it here, but for you guys,
It only cost me 3 paychecks.
for you guys, this is not that expensive. For you guys, I did it. I wanted to keep this here. I wanted to not open it, so it's a mystery. This could be a box of socks.
All right, he's got the scissors.
I love
All right, here we go.
socks.
He's penetrating the box, as you can hear.
All right, let's watch how we talk.
He's got it. Oh, he's weak, so he can't open it
Yeah.
with one pass through.
I have to go this way.
Oh, he's side cutting now. He can't even do
Let's
that
try it
right.
again.
I know how to cut.
I don't want to cut the game,
Oh, so it's a game. All right, well, you blew it.
or it's a bag of socks.
Okay, Dad, you already gave it away. Come on, just stop. Just stop.
This is his first box cutting. He's not very good at it. All right, the package is open. Pause.
All
He's
right,
got it. I see some bubble wrap.
quite the bubble wrap,
Can I
huh?
have the bubble wrap?
Hey, I mean,
No, because you're just gonna pop it the whole time that we're sitting here.
No,
the
I'm
rest of
not.
better to have more than less bubble
Yeah.
wrap. Here it comes. Oh boy,
Yes.
that is it's a Sega CD box. It's gotta be.
Is that the thought? All right.
He's like, it's not an expensive game. It's like the most expensive game.
I told you not to play with
Come on,
This
you
is
can't
not
do
good
that.
pod, my friend. This is not good pod. All right, so here we go. Here's the unveiling.
It's a Sega CD game. It is a lot of bubble wrap, so it's obviously not a cheap game. He used a whole 1,400 square inch roll on this one.
Well, you know
game.
what? Good on him. Good on
We are
him.
going, and it's Radical Rex.
We have Escape
Oh.
from Monster Manor on the 3DO interactive multimedia player.
As everyone's saying is, who?
Yeah, Escape from Monster Manor, one of the games I had back in the day for the 3DO that I mentioned on the show that I wanted to get.
Now you pay 17 times more what it's worth.
It wasn't that bad. I think I got it for about $40.
Oh, dang, all that for a $40 game?
Well,
No, all the bubble wrap and
and it the disc isn't in here. No, it is complete. So you got to have it that way for some reason. I don't know what it is about this game, but it's it might be terrible when I fire it back up. I don't know.
I was just about to ask. I was like, is it even any good?
Yeah, it's good.
Is it a first-person shooter?
First-person shooter adventure, almost. Like you're in the mansion and you got to run around and do stuff, and it's it's almost like
Is it a story type of
It's
More
like-
activities than shooting? More finding things
more
and
finding
solving...
things. And, yeah.
Okay.
But kind of like a Doom, like if Doom met Resident Evil in a way.
Yeah, I don't... I don't even... It doesn't look familiar to me
Oh my
at
gosh!
all.
Look at the creators.
Oh wow, they got it's like you're looking in the back of the CD booklet.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah,
the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
band. They got a picture of the band.
The whole band, yeah.
Oh, they're at like a great with the spooky mask. Oh my word! We got Leo Schwab, Bob Vieira, John Loop, R.J. Michael, Stephen Henry Biscup, Greg Savio, Liz Beatrice, and Kim Tempest, and they all have their own like. I just want to thank shout out. They all have their own little shout outs. That's pretty cool.
Isn't that awesome?
Escape from Monster Manor, huh?
We should try it.
From EA too, huh?
Well, EA supported the 3DO quite a bit.
No, I know, but this is when like EA was like making games.
Yeah, like actual games.
yeah, like legit games.
Yeah.
Oh, so it looks like you got like a little some ghost duster, some ghost gun kind of thing.
Maybe it's a precursor to Luigi's Mansion or something like that.
Fast-paced shooting action at breakneck speeds, possible only on 3DO.
It's a hefty heaping helping too, right? Doesn't it feel like substantial? Like you really got something?
What, like this box?
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about like all the systems back then. They like
You really
they all
felt like
had
you got something.
But I mean, especially this one because it's like a box and a case. Like
Yeah.
it's such a custom box. Like you have the CD on the bottom, the little booklet, the CD booklet on the top.
Yeah.
Inside their custom like 3DO cases.
I mean, they overdid it, but I kind of like them.
And then they must have switched at some point, right? And then they just went to jewel cases.
Just the regular jewel. I don't know if they ever did that or if they kept this model.
Well, because there's a lot of games that are in like a CD jewel case with the booklet and everything.
Oh, that's true. But I think the CD jewel case came inside a cardboard box.
Oh, yes, right. Yeah.
That was like almost like one of these boxes here, where you just open the flap and then you had the instructions with the CD case inside, almost like a Jaguar CD game, but not as robust because that thing
I wish
has
they would have
so much in
kept
it.
them all just like this, especially for like displaying purposes.
Yeah.
It's a nice case.
Like I wish I could get like the Wolfenstein 3D case and like the Return Fire case, but they're just so expensive now. I can't really justify it,
Yeah, I mean it looks, it doesn't look like crazy impressive, but
here's the thing: there's not a ton of 3DO games that are worth it that didn't make their way to other consoles. Because when you think about like some of the best games, the Need for Speed, Road Rash, right? Like these are games that ended up coming out on other systems, and so if there's a better version on another system, why would you bother with the 3DO version?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
A terrifying
Doom is on there. Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Remember that was like the big selling point.
Yeah,
but you can play.
They had their own controller for it.
Right, but you can play that on the PlayStation now.
Yeah.
So why would you mess with that version?
Exclusive to the 3DO still, huh?
Yeah. So like those exclusive 3DO games that are really good, or maybe that are more expensive and not necessarily better on another system, like the PS1 version of Return Fire, I think is pretty expensive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's probably around the same as the 3DO. So like,
I remember when that game came out, and it made me like want a 3DO.
Which one?
Return Fire, because like all the reviews gave it like perfect reviews.
I think I like Mass Destruction a little bit better.
Mass Destruction, but that's not like Return Fire, right?
Oh yeah.
You're it's like a small tank.
You're a tank, but it's a little bit simpler. Like you don't have the 4 vehicles, and you don't like the map is not. There's not like these tiny little skinny bridges where you're getting bombed at.
It's just more about destroying everything. And
it sort of is, but there's an objective there, and I find myself dying a lot in Return Fire and Mass Destruction. I seem to kind of develop a little bit more of a rhythm, and I'm actually making progress.
The rhythm, the rebel.
But they're both great. I mean, I love them both.
This is a terrifying hunt for the undead.
Yeah, good job, buddy.
Spooky houses.
So I'm happy to own that. But this is certainly not as cool as what you have on the docket, Trent, because you were able to find something at our local watering hole
Yeah. Speaking of things from the past that we had at one time.
And I say that, and I was thinking about this last night, but if you guys are having trouble finding stuff either on eBay or, one of those marketplaces, try to find a local store and become somewhat friendly. Like, we've actually become really, really good friends with the people who run the store over there. You guys all know Ryan, and he's, one of our best buds now, but you don't necessarily have to go that far. If you just develop a relationship with a local place and let them know what you like or let them know what you're looking for, a lot of times they're going to want to help you out. They want to sell things, and they want to sell things to their regular customers. So if you can do that, sometimes you get the word on something that they received maybe earlier than the general populace. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, right?
That's what they say.
So having said that, Trenton, indulge us with your anomaly.
So actually, back in 2005, I had this gem of a little handheld.
That's subjective.
I don't remember why I don't know why I wanted it back then. I remember seeing some of the games and they looked interesting to me. And it was also cheap at that time because its time had passed when it came out pretty much, but by then it was on clearance. I think I got it brand new for maybe $90 at was it GameStop then? Was it GameStop back in 2005 or was it Funko Land?
Nope, it was GameStop at that point. So
yeah, from GameStop, and all the games were on clearance. So and they were all brand new. They were all $3 to $5 or whatever.
I remember that,
and it's kind of been a thing. I think we've mentioned it a few times here and there on the podcast about how of a failure it was, but I had it and I was like, it was actually pretty decent. But
you have to appreciate things for what they are, not what you expected them to be in the moment.
Yeah, but the thing is, it had so much better competition at the time as every other handheld had failed.
I think at that time
it was a thing they shot themselves in the foot before it even came out. Just the way they did it.
But it was doing some things that other systems weren't at the time that were in the same category.
No,
which
did.
Gave it a competitive edge. The problem is that very quickly other things came out. Why don't you show everybody what it is?
They just trounced it. So yeah, at our local watering hole, they had posted on their Facebook. And I just happened to see it almost right when they posted it. And I texted Ryan. I was like, please tell me you still have it. Can you hold it for me? I'll come tomorrow and get it. I don't even know what the price was. But so he made
a few deals. You traded in a couple of things.
Yeah, he held it for me. I brought a ton of stuff I just had sitting around that I knew I was never going to play. A bunch of Genesis games, some toys, shirts. I was like,
they take a lot there.
I was just bringing everything in. I brought a CRT TV in there.
Yeah. A used box of Dunkaroos.
Yeah, they took it. Hey, they took it.
Yeah.
A quarter, but they took it. And this most
in the box
prolific system is.
It really is.
The Nokia N-Gage QD.
We're not playing Snake anymore, baby.
Yeah, we went into full 3D mode on this one. And it was actually I thought it was going to be a lot more, but it was actually fairly cheap. I think it was $45.
I don't think it's as desirable as maybe you thought because you enjoy it so much and you want it. But it was more reasonable when we think about what we're willing to pay for things. This was relatively tame, I would say.
I mean, I know it goes for a lot more, especially because it had the box and it has all the inserts and everything with it.
Still has the original tag on the outside of the top.
Yeah. So yeah, $45, and
it looks like the box looks like what you would get a phone in.
Well,
what I mean?
Because it was, because there was a phone at the time.
It's less of a video game box and more of like a phone, which you could connect this thing to local networks. You might even still be able to. I don't even know.
I don't think so. But yeah, this is the little bugger.
Tiny.
Yeah, it's. I remember when I was
almost the size of like a Game Boy Micro.
This is even smaller than I remember it, just because we're so used to.
I think that's because that's the QD, the original. This
is the one I had though. Yeah, the original N-Gage, and then this is the one that came out after.
This is the second version of it.
Now, hindsight, if they would have came out with this one first instead of the other one, they may have had a little bit better chance, but it still would have failed.
They had some support, though, on the system.
Yeah, the launch really wasn't that great. It was just kind of ports of, other games.
Graphically, where would you put it? Because I remember there being a version of Pandemonium.
Yeah, they're good.
And that is it looks, to me, very similar to the Saturn version.
Yeah, it's definitely, early PS1. Because they had Tomb Raider, Tony Hawk, Pandemonium,
but on the go.
Yeah, and they all played, and all those games played well too. but it was just it was already outdated by the time it came out. Like the DS was out. PSP like came out not too long after
2005,
and that had that was like a massive screen. Just everything was, it had Sony behind it. But yeah, it got a lot of flack, well deserved, because there was just a lot of dumb things they did. But I had a ton of games when I had it, because they were all like, like I said, they were like clearanced out. So I just like scooped up everything.
Such a novel idea though, like a video game system that you can also call people on. It's just
like at the time, yeah.
I don't know. Looking back on it, it just seems so cool.
Yeah, because
in a very nerdy way.
It had its own the N-Gage Arena, where you would that's what they would like their online service, I guess you would call. And you could play other people online, or just upload your like leaderboards and stuff. Which
was it the first portable system to do that?
Yeah, I think so. Because the DS had like the hotspot thing at the time.
DS wasn't really,
but
messing. I
don't think it had Wi-Fi. Did it? I really don't know. But obviously it came out before the PSP.
Yeah.
So it did. So you had the leaderboards. You could play against other people. So yeah, I got it with a few games as well, like Red Faction, which is a great game on the PS1. Supposedly this plays
PS1 or PS2.
Oh yeah, PS2. Sorry, but yeah, it's just like a scaled down version of all these games are supposed to be really good.
How's like the D-pad and the controller, the buttons?
I think they're fine. I mean,
and you have big hands.
Yeah, I know. So it can get a little bunched up, but I never really had any issue with playing them. I mean, you only use like a few buttons on the number pad. But yeah, I never really had any issues getting my big hands on it.
Yeah.
Pause.
Mitts.
What else? Pathway to Glory.
Another like army shooter.
Yeah, I don't really know how to explain it. I haven't
first person.
Think of like a more technical like cannon fodder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they made another sequel on it too.
Love me some cannon fodder.
This one I still haven't played, but I remember I saw it on the stack of games they had got in. This was like a really late release. Glimmerati. It's a really expensive game.
Like a Ferrari game?
Yeah, it's like you're like, you're a bunch of like rich people, and you're trying to show off your cars, and you're like racing to get to certain areas. I haven't played yet, but I just remember when this came out, like it was hyped for as much as you can.
Probably not that many copies of it then.
It's rated mature too.
Oh well.
Yeah. And then this is one of the games I had when I originally had it, which is Ashen, which is an exclusive. They never put it out on anything else.
Well, Glimmerati was too, right?
Yeah. Which is a first-person shooter. It kind of like what's the one on Hexic or
Hexen?
Yeah,
love Hexen.
Similar to that. It's
open like a first-person adventure game.
Yeah, and it plays really well. I remember like playing through most of it when I first had it. So this was the first game I started to play. I only played it for maybe a half hour. It's a little tough. I don't remember it being that hard. Maybe I'm just not as good anymore.
You just gotta get back into it.
But yeah, so now I'm all in on the N-Gage, as they say. I think there's about
how many games are there?
53 or 55.
You'll get them. You'll get them all. I believe in you.
Yeah, there's only maybe like 2 or 3 that are like really expensive, like the Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah,
most of them are still. I mean, in terms of what you would think, they're like $20 to $40. So nothing crazy. Yeah, so now I'm all in on the N-Gage.
Nothing in that surprises me in any breath. So
I like those like random systems that like most people don't know about.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a piece of gaming history that most people, even gamers, don't really know much about. If anything at all.
It's kind of. I mean, I don't want to.
It's an oddity.
Yeah,
it's an oddity.
It is kind of like the Sega CD in a way, as in like if you didn't have it, people just said it was terrible. All they had was FMV games, and like the N-Gage was like, oh, that thing's stupid.
I mean, it's easy to poo-poo something you don't have.
Yeah, like the Jaguar we did for so long, and until you actually get one, and then you're like, wow, there's some fun games you can play on this.
A clock can be right twice a day, even when it's broken.
Yeah. So I mean that those will be definitely something I'll probably try to look for at the game show. I don't remember if I've ever seen Engage games at any of the shows we've done. Obviously, I wasn't looking for them, but I probably would have seen them.
Well, now that you have the system, like if you saw a game but you had no system there, you probably wouldn't think much of it and you probably forget about it.
Yeah.
But now if you see a game, you're probably going to be like, oh, I have the system. Like, let me check it out.
So that's another one on the list.
Got to be complete though. You can't get any loose games for that.
No, I mean the cases are great too.
Yeah.
So they actually come each case came with another little cartridge holder.
They seem like a half-size PlayStation 2 case
that'll hold 4 games. Yeah, it kind of is. Kind of set up like the DS ones where it kind of sits in its own little thing, and then you can put
the four game thing is actually a pretty neat, useful little thing because then you only have to carry one of them.
Yeah.
To have, whatever games you want to bring with you.
Yeah, man.
If it's in your pocket pretty easily, like it's not
the screen is like when you go back to it is very
tiny,
very small. Yeah.
Does it have an out so you can put it on a TV or anything? Would that be too much? Would that be too muddy?
I don't think anyone's. Does it have
somebody's gonna mod it
to your TV?
Somebody's gonna mod it for VGA.
I was like, hey Marcelo, you ever modded an N-Gage before?
He probably has.
Man, yeah.
If it can be done, people will do it.
And I don't know if the person that had this never used it, but the battery still holds a charge like really well.
Yeah, maybe they didn't use it that much.
Yeah, I'm assuming most people did.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. I had a couple more things that I wanted to talk about, but I think we'll probably just tie it up here. We're working on an hour, and we're probably going to have some lengthy discussion for the Sega CD. So we'll cut it off here for right now, guys. We're going to send you to one of our sponsors, and we'll come back after that with our discussion of Sega CD and maybe a guest or two. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Bye.
Happen.
That wasn't too bad, kid.
Pretend it's a game.
All right, here we go. Well, welcome back, everybody. We hope you enjoyed that commercial break that we just had. And of course, miraculously, there is a new individual on the podcast.
There's a busybody.
And so we have to introduce this wonderful specimen. And that is the
special man.
He's the hammerhead shark because he always brings a glimmer and a spark. It's Mr. Jesse Clark. Welcome to the show, Jesse.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you very much for having me.
Jesse, you are a friend we have not seen in a couple of decades, and I'll tell you what, in the few minutes that we've been spending here together,
only a few minutes,
we have just been connecting on all sorts of different levels, including fishing levels, including Sega levels, including all different types of manner. And so I am so thankful that you're here, number one. And I'm interested in indulging in the Sega CD adventure that we are talking about here, because the reality is that most people did not get to experience this console back in the day because it was sort of prohibitive in its pricing and its messaging, and we'll get into all that.
It was too good for most people.
But I want to introduce you to the audience, and so if you would indulge us, please. Tell us a little bit about your gaming background, maybe some of the first games you ever played, if you don't mind. Which I should have said this before we got started, but it's going to be hot. We're going to come in hot here if we can. And tell me a little bit about your gaming formities and and maybe give me at the end of that, your two favorite consoles if you can. So what got you into gaming?
If you will.
And then maybe two favorite consoles, and then we're going to get into the Sega CD. And who knows, maybe the Sega CD might be on there. I don't know. We'll see.
We shall see.
Well, Mr. Mata, first of all,
it's not like a classroom. You're not being graded.
The mic is right here,
dude,
Jesse.
it sounds. I can hear my voice like echoing. I'm not used to talking all this stuff, but first of all, let me thank you so very much for extending me this opportunity to come to your home.
You are
meet
very
your
welcome.
family, and you do make a damn fine cocktail, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
I will.
No
not,
problem.
I will not disagree with that.
I think it's important to
No
live.
one was arguing.
It's important to live richly in this world, whatever you're doing, whether it's listening to this podcast, whether it's spending time with family. It's live richly, live as richly as you can with whatever you have. So
Yes, sir.
I know that you're doing that down in Florida where you live, and so I'm excited to learn more about that. But today, right now,
Please don't slam the door.
I want to hear more about your gaming formities.
So
Some of your favorite systems, and then I want to get some of your thoughts on the Sega CD, which I'm going to introduce here in a second. But we'll make that very conversational as we go.
Right.
But introduce for the people. Tell us a little bit about maybe. Do you remember the first game that you ever played?
Well, I sure do, and I remember seeing original Super Mario Brothers in 1989.
Really, the original Super Mario Brothers?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
On the original Nintendo Entertainment System at I believe is Ryan and Tara Schlegenhofer's house.
It's Schlegenhoff, but
Schlegenhoff.
yes,
Okay, so you know them.
I know them very well, and
Okay.
Ryan and I actually have a professional relationship.
That's awesome.
We do in
Ooh, that's awesome.
our business. So I know Ryan very well, and he calls on me quite often.
Okay, that's really nice to hear
Yeah.
that. You know,
Mata,
Good people.
get it done.
well, you know, I have not been here in so long, and there's so many people and places and things I haven't seen in so long. So when
It's funny that you mentioned the Schlegenhaus because they're from Columbia,
Right, but
and
when-
you're a Wyndham kid.
well, you know, I mean, hey, Wyndham always did beat E.O. Smith, didn't we?
Not always, but maybe in football.
Hey, once in a while. But we're getting a little off track. Let's get a little back on topic.
It's a conversational podcast. We're good.
One of my first and earliest memories was seeing original Super Mario Brothers at Ryan and Tara's house.
Okay.
From there, I remember I got my first Game Boy
Okay.
when we were on our way to Cape Cod, and we had to go through a little town called Sandwich.
Sandwich. That's where my partner's from.
And I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. And I had Tetris and Super Mario Brothers.
Okay. Super Mario Land.
Or Super Mario Land. Yeah,
the-
Great game.
The original one for the Game Boy.
Yeah, yeah.
With the baby Mario.
So I always remember the Egyptian level, right?
Oh, that was great.
And they had that lion that was spitting fireballs
Yeah.
at you. And you were like, and then another one was that undersea level where you had the little submarine.
It was a shooter. It turned into a shooter.
And that was one of those things. That was like, Mom, can you beat this level for me?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had to hand
Handed it to your mom.
Mama Bear.
Well, I had to hand it off to somebody older.
Yeah. Well, you were what, 4 or 5 years old
About his age.
with that pea
probably
soup
size.
green screen that was blending back and forth as you were moving.
And not only that, to conserve battery life, you had to turn the volume all the way down.
Ah, okay. See, that's the kind of wisdom that we actually
yeah.
forget because there's certain things about these old
You
consoles.
can't turn the volume down.
That would
Yeah, but
you
it
gotta
probably
blast it.
really helped with the battery consumption because you're using those 4 AA.
Yeah, but it was good.
Double
on the,
A.
it was good on the Game Boy. though.
I'm telling you, man, those 4 hours I got of it were some of the happiest 4 hours I've had in my life.
Now, did you play that in the car? Was that kind of like
all the way in the back of the car, all the way up to Cape Cod.
Yeah, look, and your posture's perfect.
Oh yeah. You can, Look,
yeah.
you want me to tell you the Konami code right now? because
I will guarantee you that everybody watching knows it, so you don't have to worry about
Do you
that.
remember a game on Nintendo called Life Force?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Game
Look
Boy.
at all the games just got back here.
So Game Boy made a
Hit
version.
me with stump me. Hit me with something good.
All right. So what was the Game Boy version of Life Force?
Salamander?
No.
Or was it Life Force?
No, it wasn't Life Force. It was something with this-
Gradius?
I don't know. It had a weird dragon that looked like Falcor coming out the front of it, but the Konami code would work on this game on the Game Boy. Mm-hmm. Left, right. Well, it
Up,
depends.
down, left, right,
Up, down,
VA,
right.
select, start,
Yeah.
or start.
Well, because you remember for on Genesis, Mortal Kombat 2 is left, down, left, right, left, right to open up the menu. And on the original Genesis,
We're going to have to check that.
I think you mean Mortal Kombat 1.
Well, Mortal Kombat 1
You're
or
thinking
Mortal
of
Kombat 1 was
the-
ABAC, ABB. Right, and you're right. Left.
No, for the other menu code, it's
Oh, wait,
down up.
wait.
It's down up, left, A, right, down.
there was a blood code for the Game Gear version of Mortal Kombat.
It's got color and it's got a backlight.
Yeah.
Trent told me the blood code. Trent, what is it?
I don't remember on that. But now that you bring it up, I do remember.
There was a blood code
because my friend Justin had it
with 2 buttons.
I think it was in the
one
game.
joystick.
I think it was in the Game Pro magazine, and I remember. Yeah,
Oh, dude, Game Pro magazines were awesome, man. I love those things.
It's just amazing to me how many people from that period, because you got to think, Super Mario Brothers came out in 1985, and if you had a game that was 4 or 5 years old that came out, you know, most kids today wouldn't be thinking about that game because it'd be so old. But it just showed the staying power of Super Mario Brothers and how big of a deal it was, because it almost single-handedly, if not single-handedly, revived gaming after the gaming crash. So, you know, it's 1989 to experience Super Mario Brothers and say that was your aha moment is pretty mind-blowing. And so
would you call this game platformers?
It's called a platformer. Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember a little game called Astanax?
Can I just say this first?
So this is a running joke on the podcast.
This is gonna get going, man.
Yeah.
You guys should have brought your boots because the shit's gonna get deep.
Well, any game you reference, we've already talked about 100 times. So,
well, damn. Okay then.
so
Jellicoe. You know what's the?
I mean, you can ask about it.
The worst one, JDM or JDL, the one with the rainbow.
JNL.
They were the
LJN.
What are we doing? What's going on?
I'm losing my mind
That
here.
was garbage. Yeah. Sorry.
See that even people who are not in the gaming peculiarities on a regular basis know that LJN is just, you know, generally trash. Well, that's cool. So, and in terms of your favorite consoles, what are some of your favorite consoles that you played growing up?
What's your favorite?
Okay.
Just say that.
Yeah, what's your favorite?
So I have been fortunate enough, just as you guys have, to run through each and every just about generation of console that we've had.
Sir.
But I have to say the console that brought me
to the game,
the
so
most.
to speak.
Well, no, the console.
The most joy.
I mean, everybody wants me to say it's my Nintendo Entertainment System.
We don't want you to say anything.
Nobody wants you to say that.
I'm gonna have to say it's my PS2.
Your
PS2.
Because those nights when I was like 19, 20 years old and I'd work hard, you know, 10, 12-hour shifts all the way down to the casino, and I came home, all I wanted to do was fire up Red Dead Revolver.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
And they got that game. They nailed that game. The screenplay
before Red Dead Redemption.
Correct. The grain, like a lot of these big sandbox games, it's almost too much going on. I liked games back in the day when they were simple and you didn't have to think too much about doing this and doing that and what's my horse's health status, and that's for like ADD.
So that's one of the things that we talk about on this podcast all the time, because this podcast, the genesis of this podcast, no pun intended, was to really discuss those games between the Nintendo Entertainment System and the Dreamcast. So the PS2 is a little bit out of our purview, but it does harken back, because a lot of those series carried forward, and a game like Red Dead Revolver would be part of that, because it was simple enough that it was stage based. Because if you remember, Red Dead Revolver was stage based,
semi-linear.
In linear, very linear in the way of you finished the stage, you moved on to the next stage. So it wasn't a open world game, which games right afterwards started to become.
And you wouldn't also get lost because it's a giant sandbox.
Right. So to hear you say that, so I want you to understand something, and I want the people listening to understand something, is that the value of somebody's opinion who is not in the typical, like we this is our life, like we live this stuff, right?
This is great. I'm loving this. I am loving this, bro. I am loving this right now, dude.
I love it. So
I was looking forward to that. I've been here 10 days, and when I talked to Trent, and I've been telling everybody's like, "What are you doing Friday?" I'm like, you're leaving me alone Friday because I'm going to see Chet and Wright and Salamata, and we're about to go catch up on 20 some odd years of BS.
He's like crossing all the names off, like Steve Buscemi in Billy Madison.
Is it Buscemi or Buscemi?
Buscemi.
All right. Did you know he used to be a firefighter and he volunteered in 9/11? He really did.
And having said that, to parlay off of what you just said, is that your opinion is really valuable, and the reason why I say that is because you can create a bubble in the industry that you're in. You can create a bubble of a thought bubble or sort of a mantra that kind of feeds itself, and then what happens is there's no real independent voice. And so hearing you say the things that you say really kind of reinforce and back up some of the thoughts and feelings of gamers that games and gaming itself since the PS2 have gone in a direction. And honestly, the PS2 is that sort of crux point, because the PS2 is the console that housed Grand Theft Auto 3, which is that open world game, right? Is that open world game that started in large measure that progression towards a game that now requires a lot of time and dedication and something that a lot of us as adults don't have the attention span or time for. So
that's two big things: attention span and or time.
Right. So to hear you say that as, and I don't want to call you an outsider, but in a way of this is not your typical thing.
Oh hell, I'm not no outsider, man. You guys have known me forever.
No, outside
in terms of
outside of the way of like, look at this room and look at what's here.
No.
You know what I mean?
Look at my room. Look at what I've got. You guys won't be ashamed. You come to my house, you won't be ashamed.
I would
Trust
never
me.
be ashamed, but see,
I'll get you all
okay,
set up.
just so you understand,
I don't have quite an experience.
Jesse, so you understand.
Yes, sir, I understand.
I go to sleep listening to videos about video games from the Nintendo Entertainment System that sold 50,000 copies. Like that's the stuff that I live and breathe.
And you got water dogs.
And I wake up every morning and listen to Sega Lord X.
You do?
I sure do.
Damn it.
Can't judge a book by its cover, boy. Get on out of here.
Well,
with your gators and your fish.
You should have just lied.
I'll show you videos of my pet alligator named Larry. No, he's cool. I've got a little toy. Like I used to tie a stick to a piece of rope and throw it out there, and he'd bite it, and like we'd play
off the rails.
All right. Are there any video game shows down there?
Like a flea market kind of video game show.
The last.
If you're not in the bubble,
before you were here, we recorded about RWX, which is the show that's coming up in August.
The last best video game show I've ever seen was Legends of the Hidden Temple.
No. We're off the rails here.
So as I said, you are not in the typical gaming purview as much as you listen to Sega Lord X.
I'm an anomaly, dude.
All right.
Yes. So you're not an anomaly.
You're not an anomaly. You're really crucial to the conversation, but it's you are a good sort of, I don't know how to say it, test case person, outsider, not outsider,
a third party
to actually give us some feedback in terms of what's going on in the industry, what's working in the industry, what's not working in the industry, and one of them is the fact that Marshmallow is sitting on my lap. The second thing is that your instincts about gaming are more true than what any gamer who's living and breathing this every day could think. So it's valuable what you're saying, and I appreciate that.
I'm going to tell you right now, anytime I really want to experience true gaming, I continue to return to the old school games.
And why is that?
Because they're simple, they're easy to pick up and play, and it doesn't require a lot of thought. A game should be fun, it should be easy to pick up and play, and it should not require a lot of thought. Mm-hmm. That's why I like these buttons with 3 controllers.
I like buttons with 3 controllers too.
Oh, you guys caught that. Good, I'm glad you did. I like these controllers with 3 buttons because nowadays you've got, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
It's too much.
Unless you got a Jaguar controller.
14 things. 14 things you can have happening on a controller.
It's unreal.
It's insane.
It's unreal. And by the time you want to get into it,
it's crazy.
It's like you're falling asleep. So, because that's the time you have to play is when everybody else is asleep.
And so honestly, lately, what I've been playing is like Lego Star Wars, bro.
Love it.
It uses 3 buttons, bro.
Yeah.
I got a joystick, 1 jumps, 1 shoots, and 1 builds.
On PS2?
That's it. That's all I
I'll
need.
Just keep asking. PS2?
No. on my Xbox One.
Oh, you have an Xbox One?
Down in Florida. I've got a 360, an Xbox One. But I like simple, what we call pick up and play or couch friendly. Yeah.
Couch friendly. There you go.
Yeah. I even have Streets of Rage.
That's a term we've created here on the podcast, couch friendly.
Dude, I even have Streets of Rage 2 downloaded on my Xbox One on the Sega Classics.
Yeah, but it
app.
sucks with that controller.
No, it's not bad at all.
No.
No.
Right, but if you had the choice to be able to use a Retrobit controller,
Of course I would. But okay, so
I mean, it's fine. Yeah.
I have to get a new laptop. Like I've got all the emulators. I've got Nessie. I've got this, that.
I've
But
got all of them. Kid.
my laptop's a little outdated and a little. I don't know what's wrong with it, but I had a VGA. I had a VGA cable. Well, now we would, I guess, use an HDMI. This is back in 2000.
Oh, like a VGA out? HDMI out?
2012, 2013. Yeah. You know, the thing that you had to screw in both sides. And
Yeah. Yep.
Had like a bunch of pins.
Yeah, it's like the standard computer monitor cable.
If I were to get a new laptop, like I said, I have 6 USB controllers for all different systems. And
they're shaped like the Xbox controllers, kind of.
Yeah. Dude, I've got Sega, Super, Nintendo 64, GameCube.
Yeah, all that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I do not have a Dreamcast, but
so the thing we usually talk about is that like we can get emulators and all that's fine. It's just I have like one of the little. I don't know if you heard of, like the Retro Pi.
I've seen those.
It's just its own little basic computer thing, and it has all the stuff downloaded on it.
Wait, all the systems?
Yeah, it's already preloaded. It's basically the same thing as it's just running on its own hardware. But it's like there's so many games that like
different.
There's just like so many games to choose from that I'll never like sit down and just focus on one.
And it doesn't have Game Genie, does it?
I don't know, but there
sure
are
you can load codes into it.
There are some like emulators that you can do that you can add the cheat codes in.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, there's so many options that I can never focus on one. That's kind of like why I like playing on the original hardware, because it's like you have to physically put the game in, and then you're just playing that one.
Okay, if you guys were to pose me a question like this and say, if you could pick up any game at any moment and play it on what system and what would it be? I'll tell you right now, it would be...
I'll tell you what, boy.
I'll tell you what now, it would be the Blue Marlin on the
NES?
Nintendo Entertainment System. Yes, sir, it sure would.
I remember you played.
Blue Marlin?
It's a
Blue
fishing
Marlin.
game.
Yes, it was a fishing game, and it was my
Go
favorite.
figure, right? The guy that fishes, right?
Dude, I have a fishing problem. I really do. It's better than other problems.
Sounds like a venereal disease.
Look, if you guys want to make another channel where we can start telling bad dad jokes, without.
I don't think we're gonna do that, but I appreciate it.
You'd have to come up. You'd have to come up every month for the show.
How about this?
Fly in.
No, listen, because my buddy
guy's got a Bass Pro Shops hat on right now.
One of my
With a
buddies,
sriracha shirt.
my buddy Sloppy
Talking
Joe.
about the Blue Marlin.
So I got a buddy Sloppy Joe, and he's got a green screen studio.
Oh,
and he does all kinds of YouTube videos. You guys come down to Florida, brother. We can make some videos.
Pause.
Brother, pause. Why did I just see Hulk Hogan in my head?
all right. So let's get to the soup du jour of the moment.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that I am wasting time.
You're not wasting time.
No, there's no time wasted.
There's no time wasted. It's just about trying to be efficient.
This is 28 years.
21.
21?
Well,
21.
21.
Hell, I graduated in 03. Look,
21.
Trent, I don't
21.
think I've...
It's not about when you graduate. It's about when we graduated.
Yeah.
20 years.
We don't care about you,
I
boy.
just don't know how long it's been since I've
21.
seen you guys.
21 years.
21.
Okay, 21 years. Well, all right.
So be it. Drink to that.
21 years?
21.
21.
Here's to the body of old Mary Lee. Well, I'm not
her
gonna.
too.
I'm not saying the rest of it.
You're good.
Yeah. I try to be respectful, Sal.
But and I appreciate that because respect is important. But at the same time,
Gotta respect the alphabet.
you came up.
You better respect my authority.
You came up for a specific reason, right?
Spurt.
Yeah, that's right.
Specific.
I did come out.
We
of
were
this.
so the stars aligned like in WrestleMania 6.
Yeah, when the Mega Powers.
No,
What year was WrestleMania 6?
1991.
Huh.
Okay, 91.
Right.
I was 6 years old.
Right.
Correct.
And the Sega CD came out in Japan in 1991. Okay. Which is exactly why we're here today.
Zachary.
Because you were coming up on vacation and Trenton messaged me and said, "Hey, Jesse's coming up and we used to play games on the Sega CD."
All the time.
And so
2 games.
how about we
specifically.
record an episode on the Sega CD? And I said I'm buying it.
and it took us.
I will buy that for $1.
And it took us this long to get to this.
But that's
point.
okay.
That
It's
is
happening.
okay. Because
happening.
even if these people don't care, this isn't live, and you guys are going to watch this. This is solid gold. You guys are gonna love this.
It's gold, Jerry.
This is solid gold, Jerry.
But like
So,
anything,
Sal.
but like anything that require that will have good conversation, we need some context.
Yes.
You ready for some context?
Context is
yes.
king.
So we're gonna
Yes.
we're gonna unload the context and then we're gonna discuss.
Yes.
All right.
Let's do.
We might chime in here and there.
We might chime in
do.
here and there.
Let's
So
do.
the Sega CD was created under a collaboration between two companies.
Ooh.
Well, you know one, that's Sega. The other one is the Victor Company of Japan, also known as,
Victor.
a company that you might have your stereo in your car in the 1990s, maybe in a Mitsubishi Galant. JVC.
And the Mitsubishi Galant. I know you had a head unit in the Geo Metro, a
That's-
JVC.
I remember Walmart selling JVC head units.
So it promised bigger games, CD sound, better graphics, including scaling and rotation effects, and also movie games, which we now know to be FMV, the dreaded
FMV.
FMV games.
FMV.
Like the Sega Genesis did with the FMV videos, like Night Trap and Sewer Sharks.
which is Sega
Correct.
CD, right?
Yes, the
So-
FMV.
So this was probably started as a concept in 1989 or 1990 as a response to the Super Nintendo. Because if you remember, when the Genesis was released, it was
It was relieved.
when it was released, it was competing with the Nintendo Entertainment System. It was not competing with the Super Nintendo. That's why Genesis does what Nintendo don't. Right?
Genesis
slide
does
out
what
the-
the 10 don't.
Nintendo
Yeah, that was their.
that was their
slogan.
Their slogan.
Yeah.
So when the
Slogan off.
Super Nintendo was
Trenton, you're making me laugh. I'm trying to be serious.
you don't need to be serious. This is a fun podcast. It's a podcast about video games.
I'm trying.
serious.
I'm trying to pay attention to you.
I
and keep a
appreciate
straight
that.
Face, and
I
Trent's over
appreciate
here
that.
in my left ear, like.
FFB.
That's what he does.
That's great. I love it.
So Sega of Japan hid the project from Sega of America until mid 1991.
Was it in the closet?
So Sega of America did not know about this until basically 6 months before it was released in Japan
Did they call him up? Like, I heard you've been hiding it.
when they found out. So
Country Mama.
the project ended up becoming more and more expensive as it evolved because when they wanted to add the rotation effects and the scaling effects, the Genesis CPU couldn't handle it all. So they needed to add another chip inside the Sega CD to be able to
Not a chip.
accomplish the goals of what they were trying to do. Like if you can imagine, if you remember the game Batman Returns. Batman Returns required an extra chip to be able to do this the scaling effects.
Yes,
So-
the scaling and that was getting big in the mid to later 90s when the Genesis was kind of on its last legs,
Right.
putting out its last things. But Castlevania, one of its last games, the scaling effects were fantastic.
And that was on the Genesis alone. So that's
Yes.
actually a good point for us to make regarding what the Genesis could do with software scaling versus what the Sega CD was designed to do. So it was really influenced by Nintendo's decision to enter the 16-bit race, and then also the NEC PC engine, and also the TurboGrafx 16, which was the American version of that, which had its own which had its own CD module that attached to it. So the Sega CD released on October 15th, 1992 in North America. It launched with 3 Make My Video music FMV games, a compilation disc of older Sega Genesis games.
Yeah, Sal didn't see you. Sal, follow the bouncing ball.
Pause.
Okay, Dad, you're on the
No, you're good, man.
We are in shambles right now.
That's all good.
That's okay.
It launched also with Black Hole Assault, which was a fighting game, Soul Feast, which is the Sega CD version of Soul Dees,
One of the greatest shooters of all time.
Sewer Shark,
Sewer Sharks.
and Wonder Dog.
Hard as hell.
Oh, Wonder
So-
Dog. That was JVC too, right? that published that one?
JVC published
Wonder
Wonder Dog. So I want you to think about that. The Sega CD launched with these games, right?
Yikes. Well,
And then the other thing
on launch.
on October 15th, 1992. Now, just so that you know, every magazine that was circulated at the time was talking about Sonic 2. Sonic 2 released November 24th, 1992. So literally a month and 9 days after the Sega CD released, the biggest Genesis game of all time released.
yeah, that's
And why would they do that when you have a 16-bit console in competition with a 32-bit console?
It makes no sense whatsoever.
That was the death of Sega. Is they were, well, not only that.
So the history of the Sega CD. I'm getting through this before. I'm not even finishing the bullet points.
We have too much.
I'm going to say it right now.
We got too much to talk about right now.
I'm going to say it right now. That launch lineup right there,
Oh, especially going into the holidays that year too.
going into the holidays, that launch lineup, the system retailed for $299.99,
Did it? And
which
it
was
packed,
almost three times what the Genesis
yeah,
was.
it was packed in with Sewer Shark, right? The model was it? The Model 1, or maybe some versions were, maybe after.
It's possible. I don't know. I don't have the. I didn't make a note of that or what it packed in with.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it was definitely. It had like Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective.
Ooh,
It had
with the encyclopedia,
it had like
the double disc.
Yeah, it had like the CDG disc with like the music on it.
Yeah.
So I had a couple of those things, but nothing that would like knock
Nothing
your
that-
socks off.
So,
Yeah.
so
And when you
say-
have a Genesis game that is the biggest game of all time, that's getting released day and date in every region, basically, right? Except for Japan, which was 3 days earlier.
it was earlier in Japan. Yes,
It was three days earlier in Japan. It was November 21st, I think. But the fact that you had the biggest Genesis game of all time after Sonic the Hedgehog 1 releasing within a month, basically, of the Sega CD, that shot the Sega CD in the foot. And then on top of it, you did not have a killer app for the Sega CD.
Yeah, I guess in hindsight, I guess if they really wanted to make the Sega CD like the thing, they would have put Sonic 2 on it. I guess if you look back at it,
They should have.
Well, they
back
put
then.
They should have, because the problem is
CD.
Sonic CD didn't show up until a year later.
Yeah.
When
You
the,
can't do that.
when the 32-bit consoles are well underway.
The 3DO was already right there. The Jaguar was already right
3DO,
there.
oh my god, dude!
Yeah.
Wow,
He's got it.
So, but the point being is that
I
Sega
bet
found
he
a
knows
way.
that.
Now we're talking about the business decisions. We're not talking about
business.
We're not talking about the system and the games that we loved on it. But in terms of Sega itself, and you think about the downfall of Sega as a hardware maker, right? Those decisions
That was the genesis of it.
those decisions that caused the downfall really started with the Sega CD. When you think about it,
No, it definitely did.
Yeah,
That's when people started losing trust in the name Sega.
So what happened?
brand.
What happened with the death of Sega is because
Well, tell us.
right at that time, as Sal is saying, you had the Dreamcast, you had the 32X.
no, the Dreamcast was not even a glimmer.
That was like
Well,
8 years
okay,
later.
whatever, man. Listen, what got me was Sega
Spoken like a true politician. Yeah, whatever.
Sega released these standalone
It doesn't
things
matter.
like the 32X. Okay, the 32X on launch was what $200, $199.
I think something like that. Yeah.
Right. So you had to buy the Genesis for X amount of dollars, then you had to buy the 32X. And does anybody remember that games were $70? Has anybody done the computation on what $70?
The computation and
Dude, $70 in 1995 was like probably
I know.
100.
I was there.
Something.
So this is the original model of the Sega CD. Look at this behemoth.
Gen 1. I pulled it out of my mom's root cellar. It was in a box.
I don't know what a root cellar is, but it sounds interesting.
The bulkhead.
Well, right. In these old houses in the
As
winter.
Marshmallow goes away.
He's fading away.
Or Marshmallow is fading.
His head is
I'm
stuck.
melting.
Sal, you don't have a root cellar?
A bulkhead. Is that what you're saying? The bulkhead?
The bulkhead?
Okay, no. When you open the bulkhead before you go in the basement, there's a little room off to the side. That was called the root cellar, and that's where people, back in the day when they did canning and they did all that stuff, they
I
wanted
gotcha.
to preserve.
So like a storage area.
It's a little,
okay.
it's a little storage area.
I gotcha.
But yeah, it was in the root cellar. Like, look, up here in New England, we have root cellars and mudrooms. We don't have those in Florida. We have alligators and mosquitoes.
I don't have a root cellar or a mudroom,
Yeah.
and I live in New England.
I never heard of a mud
You
room.
don't have a mudroom?
No, because some houses do, which is like that pre-room. It's kind of like
the pre-room where you take your.
It's almost like a Three Seasons room before you go into the house.
Yeah, exactly, it's what it is. You take your crap off, and it's the mud room. You take your muddy crap off, so your house floors. You don't wear shoes into the house when it's wintertime.
I understand.
Yeah. Oh, you mean on your back deck, that area before you go into the back door in your house?
But it's closed in though.
No, I'm talking about yours.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. You come up the deck and you go in the little porch area. That's called a mudroom. You ever been to James Ouellette's house? Same thing. Bro, I was at James Ouellette's house. I was cooking.
You could have said anybody's name.
Well, James, I cooked dinner for his parents the other night, and it was real nice.
Speaking of James Ouellette,
do you know his mom is the only one that wishes me a happy birthday? His mom is the only one that texts me
on March 16th.
On March 16th, yes, sir.
Which is So speaking of James Ouellette, the Sega
did I just open a can of worms?
No,
you guys just started laughing like I.
The Sega CD was remodeled.
It just has nothing to do with anything.
In 1993. We're off the rails. The Sega CD was remodeled in 1993 to look like this, which is a side-loading unit to the Genesis 2.
The Gen 2 version.
Correct.
But it also does work with the Model 1.
Gen
also
2,
does work
Gen
with the
2
Model
Genesis,
1. Which
Gen
is
2 Sega
which
CD.
is really hokey. Have you seen the Genesis 2? Have you seen a Genesis, a Sega CD 1 with a Model 2 Genesis?
I have not.
Oh, yeah, because it's just that big gap on the top.
It's psycho.
Yeah.
It looks like it.
Well, we can do it right here. I have a Sega CD 1. You have a Model 2 Genesis. Let's see what it looks like.
Right,
Yeah,
but this is my
on.
Sega Genesis 1 and my Sega CD.
Come on, show us what
Let's touch them
You
together.
want to see what it looks like?
We're doing a
You're
doing a live touching.
You're talking about that gap, so let's see what you got here, Sal.
Pause.
Salvatore.
So this is what it would look like if you.
Gap.
Be easy, because these tabs are messed up, so I don't
But
want
that's
it
not
to
yours.
mess-
This is not yours.
I don't want it to mess up yours. I'm not worried about mine.
All right, well, let's not connect it then. Let's just
Okay.
leave it like this.
Yeah.
This is what it would look like if you connected a Sega Genesis 2 to a Sega CD
Gap
1.
in your Genesis so my CD gots to fit.
Does a Sega Genesis 1 even connect to a Sega?
It does.
It does, but you need
does.
you need a special connector unit.
Well, show us what it looks like. It looks like a bastard love child, is what it looks like.
Yeah, monkey, dance.
This is
Yeah, that doesn't look too good, man.
No.
So-
you got 3 inches
it's actually
of
a really good analogy for Sega's decisions itself.
So if I can interject.
as a company.
So actually, when I got my Sega CD was from a video game store in the Norwich Town Mall, which I still can't figure out what the name was because it was only there for like a year. It was at the end, and like everything in there was blacklight, and I paid $90.
See how quickly mine went together rather than that one there?
So I paid $90 for a Model 2 Sega CD with a Model 1 Genesis, and it came with
Combined?
and it came with Sewer Shark and Streets of Rage for $90.
And I remember...
And I actually like the Model 1 connected to the Model 2 Sega CD.
You guys want to know where I got this?
I do. I don't know.
Right.
I just kind of like the way it looks because I like the way the Model 1 Genesis looks compared to the Model 2.
I got this set up at the good old Jewett City flea market for about $90.
Back then.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Pops bought it.
But
for
yeah,
me.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
Because I was probably around when I got mine.
Pops bought me the whole shenanigans.
Because I got mine after you had yours, obviously. Because you were the only person that had a Sega CD.
I think so.
No one had a Sega CD.
Yeah, no one had it.
Yeah.
And that's an awesome 32X, by the way. And we can talk into 30. We could talk about the 32X.
We can talk about anything.
We could talk about a lot of things. It sucks I only have limited time here because there are many things I would love to talk about.
So, and then Sega also released.
Which that is mine.
You guys come down to Florida.
I think this was in 1995. This is the Sega CDX.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's a Sega CD and a Genesis
Wait.
combined.
It's a Genesis and a Sega CD combined.
Okay. I've seen a lot of stuff, but I have never seen one of these.
It's actually a portable CD player too.
Yeah, can you explain to me how this? You can put a Genesis cartridge here,
In there.
and you can put a Sega CD cartridge
And
here.
it also
The
works
discs, yeah.
with the 32X. Because you can.
and also you can put
Do
a 30.
you use this with the 32X?
You can stick a 32X.
Well, if
in
I
there?
ever get to talk, I will. Oh man.
Wait a minute. You can stick a 32X in this thing?
Yes.
Are you serious? and it'll work. That's pretty cool.
So
That's pretty cool, man.
so that 32X I just picked up recently that I gave you the box for.
Yeah.
So I don't remember ever looking in the box of mine when I got it, but so this one had the like instructions on how to connect all your different Genesis to the 32X. So they plan to make a
Neptune.
no an adapt like to extend so the 32X wouldn't sit right on top.
Oh, on the CDX?
So you couldn't open the CD door.
Can you
And it
show
would
us?
sit. It would sit up higher, so
Alright,
it
'cause
wouldn't
if you-
block the
if
CD
you,
door.
If you put the
And I was
32X
like,
in, you can't open
alright.
the CD door. That's kind of what you're getting at.
Well, no, that's actually that's exactly what I
Put the
said.
we'll put the 32X in and show us, man.
Well, I don't know
Because
me.
you can see that the CD door only opens this far, right? So let's
It's like JoJo, the out of control
well,
circus
well,
boy.
we're talking about it. Listen, you invited me over. I'm gonna give you. You wanted a show. I'm gonna give you a show, man.
Hold on.
Look at this thing. Does it fly? Does it
it's-
fly, Sal?
It looks like it's about to
It
take
looks like a
off.
flying saucer,
So
doesn't it?
it does work, but so they originally had
So-
planned to make an adapter
Look,
that would make
you-
it sit higher.
You can no longer. You can only open it.
You can't play Night Trap with that.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can only open it this far.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Sal, would you be
I don't know if you ever heard that
A mensch,
through the
a fine
the four times I've tried mentioning it.
lad,
fine young cannibal.
and then look at how much more space you get when you open it that way.
So yeah, so they never came because obviously the 32, like who had a CDX and was getting a 32X. So
Right.
they had plans to do it. And there's actually there is because I was like, did that ever come out? Because I want one, obviously. There's a site that makes they 3D. They found like or they just figured it out themselves and they 3D printed the like adapter piece.
Did you?
Oh,
It's
really?
like 20 bucks. It's like $20.
Did you show them the R switch with video trading post? go grab it real quick. If not, I'm gonna grab it. But we're
Well,
gonna have to move.
so
It does just come down.
while we're talking about hardware, there was something that I didn't bring up when we talked about pickups before.
oh, I already know what it is now.
So
See, that's so you actually called me the other day. It's like, oh, I got a surprise for the show. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, it's like a thing, but like, you know, it's kind of related to the Sega CD.
So I picked
I was
this
like,
up.
can't you just like not say anything and just make it an actual? See, I would have been
Dude,
so
what-
much more
what-
surprised if you didn't say anything. And
I
it
don't
would
want
have
you
been
to
so
be
much-
surprised. I want you to have delight.
what do you have? What do
So
you
this
have
is a
there?
I want all the
JVC.
bad things to happen to you and only you.
This is a JVC XI. I picked this up a couple of weeks ago.
Did you? Oh, did you? Mm-hmm. And you just had it sitting around? Were you waiting for?
So I've been playing video games my whole life. I've never heard of a JVC XI.
Wait. So you got it a few weeks ago. Were you holding out for a podcast to reveal it, or?
No, you just told me that you wanted to do Sega CD.
I know, but you didn't even mention to me that you got it.
I know.
A few weeks ago.
It wasn't like I didn't want to mention it. I just never got around to saying it. And
But
then
you literally, and everything you get, you're always like, yo, I just got this, or I just got this, but you never mention this.
What is this?
Just
16
because-
do you feel slighted?
No, it's just weird that you didn't.
I think you feel slighted, everybody.
No, because I didn't know if you
think-
were like holding out for this episode.
No,
like randomly.
it just happened that you said that, and I was like, "Oh, damn!" Like I can actually mention this. So I picked this up from Brandon at Retro Junk. He got this 10 minutes before I went there to drop off a train set, a Disney train set.
A train set or a train wreck?
Oh, it was.
Brother, I've had a few.
Was this a separate day? Was this a separate day from when you said you had a Vectrex, or was that the same day?
The Vectrex came a different day, but I didn't end up buying the Vectrex. But this is the JVC XI. So JVC made the Genesis made the Sega CD with Sega.
We're doing a JVC callback.
That's right. So this actually is a Sega Genesis and Sega CD all in one, made by or with JVC's logo on it, and so it also does karaoke. So there's karaoke inputs over here that we can use.
Everyone was doing that back in the day,
Right.
On their video
Well,
game
let me
systems.
tell you,
It works perfectly.
I've got a badass karaoke machine at my house.
Apparently,
Yeah, brother, fire it up.
Well, my wife is Chinese.
your wife
so
is
you know how it
Chinese. Of
goes.
course, you have a karaoke unit.
That's how it goes.
Dwight Yoakam karaoke hits.
It's everything. Hey, I can sing Chinese songs.
All right, well,
We're not going to do that here.
after the
mu-
podcast. After the
podcast.
put it
at
on the
end.
list.
I'll
Put
say-
it on the list of things to do.
So this is there were only some people say 10,000, some people say 50,000 units. Either way, this was sold at Brookstone Okay, or and
Ooh,
Brookstone.
Yeah, you can get your continuous waterfall there, and a JVC
yeah,
XI.
it was
and a foot massager.
yeah. What was the
Shiatsu massager.
What's the other one? Sharper Image.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
sold at places like that. This was
Okay.
like a high end sort of like specialty thing.
that you'd get in your in-flight
It was on Sky New. Yeah, it was like the what's the Sky
your
Mall?
in-flight catalog.
The
Yeah.
Sky Mall.
Sky Mall.
Yeah, like this would be the
Yes.
thing that you'd have there, and so it was a specialty item, and it just so happened to be at the retro store that I went to. That it got traded in 10 minutes before I got there. So
Can I ask for a price, my friend?
Hello, salutations.
So I paid about going price. About going price. I paid 400.
Oh wow.
What?
It's that much now? Well, yeah.
Well,
I remember
what-
looking like a few years ago at
So
it.
even
and
like
I wanted
even
to
like
go-
5 years ago it was 300. So it hasn't actually gone up that much considering the inflation that we've seen over COVID.
Right.
So
And now my next question.
yeah.
Well, actually, no. You don't need to do any mod to it, right?
Nope.
No, because it just
It's
uses
got RGB included.
because it uses the Model
it-
2.
and-
Right here. RGBs.
Oh no, that's just the EV.
And this is one of those that uses you can use a 32X, but you're not going to be able to play games like Night Trap.
Dude, no way. Wait.
Well, no, you can. You have to
Was
disconnect
that,
the.
Night Trap was a Sega CD game.
Yeah, but Night Trap uses 2 discs, doesn't it?
Do you remember there was?
you're-
do you
okay, you're
guys
right.
remember there
Or
was?
no, the Sega CD version is the only. Or the,
Oh, you mean the Sega CD 32X version? Oh, okay.
Sega,
Yeah.
right. That's what I was just getting.
I'm not sure if it has more than one disc.
Sega CD.
I feel like we're having 3 different
you had
conversations.
32X. All right. I'm sorry, South Trent. Just clarify something for me real quick. We've had 32X games. We've had Sega CD games. There are also in existence Sega CD 32X.
Correct.
games.
So
Yeah, but what a mouthful.
We are
and-
doing a Sega penetration.
Bro,
there's
what
like
was-
8 different Sega CDs.
What
up
was
here.
Sega doing, man?
So
We own every.
now, did you
Sega
know that
C-
this was what I was going to show after we talked last night?
No, because I just assumed it was like some high end Sega CD game because we were talking about Sega. Because I said,
When did
oh,
you
it's a
realize
game.
that it was?
Right when you like whatever 3 seconds before you.
Okay, all right. So good.
Pulled
So
it
it
out-
wasn't
pulled it
all right.
out, pause.
So I didn't completely
No.
sour. All right. So we talked about how it was remodeled. There was about 145 games released in the 3+ years it was in North America
I thought there was. Why did I think there was like 200?
total,
Oh, including Japan.
including Japan.
Oh, I thought there was 200 in the
he
US.
said
though.
just
Nope,
North-
145 games, but I counted them up last night. I literally went line by line. I counted them up.
Oh, okay.
North America.
But in North America,
North America.
1.4 million units sold in North America. 2.24 million units sold worldwide. So 2/3 of the units were sold in North America.
Yeah. Well, of course. Yeah.
That surprises me, not Japan.
The best well, Japan, the Genesis wasn't huge. The Saturn was big in Japan.
Yeah, it really wasn't huge.
The best and most notable games include Batman Returns, Snatcher, Popful Mail,
You're reading like a Wikipedia article right here.
Sonic CD, Final Fight CD, Terminator,
Also, did you know?
Soulstar, Lunar 1 and 2, Silpede, Night Trap, and KO Flying Squadron, which is the most expensive game, averaging $3,000 right now, complete as the recording of this podcast.
KO Flying Squadron.
KO Flying
It's
Squadron.
$3,000 just for the game.
Many Genesis games were enhanced to varying degree, including Echo the Dolphin, NBA Jam, Pitfall: The Mayan Adventure, Earthworm Jim, Lethal Enforcers, Samurai Showdown, Mickey Mania, Mortal Kombat, and Spider-Man.
I bet you I'll go down.
Some were more successful than others.
Oh yeah.
And it could be combined for enhanced versions of games with the 32X edition. Famously, the version of Night Trap has much better fidelity and screen size than the original Sega CD version.
Which I have the original one, and you have the 32X version.
I have the 32X version, which I found at Goodwill for $10.
Those were the days.
What was that most expensive game you said? Because I'm pretty sure I can find it at a flea market in Florida.
I don't think you can.
Oh yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I can. What was it again? Because next time I go there, I'll
KO
go.
Flying Squadron.
KO Flying Squadron.
I'll show you a picture later.
Dude, if I find that down there, I'm shipping it straight to you.
I would appreciate that. It famously requires an extra power adapter, including a third power adapter when used with the 32X. Sega even released a special Sega Power Strip to handle it all. It's famously called the Tower of Power, or as I like to call it, the Voltron.
Ooh.
The last game was Demolition Man, released on November 15th, 1995.
Oh, was it really Demolition Man? I was gonna say that was one of the Genesis ones they put on the CD.
Sonic CD was the killer app, even though it shipped 13 months after the system shipped. Most sold game, released over a year after the release. It's expensive compared to the base hardware. Poorly conveyed value through software in the beginning. Poor marketing, and it released too late. But having said that,
It's a great system.
having said that, why do we love it?
Well, I mean, there are like really great games for it.
I gotta go shake hands with the governor.
You go shake hands with the governor and come back. Trent and I are going to carry us forward.
Yeah, we'll be pretty.
We're going to hold it down, as they say.
Yeah, just not each other down.
Hey.
So I mean, the thing is, there's like so many like great games for it. I mean, I don't want to compare it into terms of like, the Jaguar was bad, but like there's still awesome games for it. There's like really a ton of like awesome games for it. Like Soul Star, as you're like, I mean, that's like the pinnacle of the Sega CD of what it can do.
So
it's an amazing
Core Design,
game.
which created Soulstar, is the most preeminent developer on the Sega CD because
And Battle Corps,
they created so many games. Pugsy, or no, not Pugsy.
BC Racers.
That was Pugsy was
Psygnosis.
Psygnosis.
Yeah.
Thank you. Which ended up getting purchased by Sony and made Wipeout after that.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go.
But you're right. I mean, there's some really good experiences like Final Fight, Final Fight CD, Fatal Fury Special, the conversion of Lords of Thunder is on there. Both of the Lunar games are on there. So there's pockets of it, but the game that I always come back to is Batman Returns. And the reason why I come back to that is because that game showcased the value of the Sega CD, and it came out too late. Like, that needed to be a launch game when you think about it, because
did it come out around? I mean, I'm assuming it came out close to the Batman Returns. I'm not that you probably know offhand, but it probably came out around the Genesis version.
It came out around the Genesis version, but it had the two completely different levels.
I don't know. It's just like one of those systems that, like, at the time, I mean, because I remember everyone was, you just say, oh, it's just a full motion video. Like, none of the games are great. They're just all video, like, clicking. Like,
what was the value
click
proposition?
games.
That's the thing, is what was the value proposition of the Sega CD? And when you showcase Sewer Shark as the value proposition, because I remember when I went over to Josh Narkowitz's house, which he was the only one who had a Sega CD.
Yeah.
And that was the game that he showcased for me was
Sewer Shark?
Sewer Shark, and so
that was a hard game.
It just had no value. It was just, it's barely a game.
It's
Right.
not. It's,
So-
it's an FPV, and you basically just push buttons on prompts when it tells you to.
but it was a gimmick, and we all knew it was a gimmick right away. And when you have Sonic 2 releasing in November of 1992, and then the games on the Sega CD are In Excess, Make My Video,
Yeah.
Marky Mark, Make My Video, Crisscross, Make My Video, Sewer
Scottie
Shark,
Pippen.
and Wonder Dog. Like, okay, Wonder Dog was a traditional game. Is Wonder Dog better than Sonic 2? Nobody would ever say that.
I never even
And it
heard
could
of
have
Wonder Dog.
just been on the Genesis too.
Right. So the value proposition was completely thrown off. Batman Returns was released in May of 93. If Batman was released at launch, and I say included in the pack-in, right?
That'd be an odd game to include as a pack.
Yeah, but still, if that was included as the pack-in, that tells you, hey, listen, this system has value.
Well, that goes back to my saying they should have published Sonic 2 on the Sega CD. Imagine if they did that.
With CD sound?
Yeah. I guess basically you would say it would have been Sonic CD. We wouldn't have known it as Sonic. It would have been Sonic 2, but
Especially when you got to the little zone,
that would've
bonus zones where you had the 3D effects and all
that would have
The special levels?
Yeah, the special effects where you're running down the half pipe. Basically.
that would have literally taken the Sega CD to the
So
next
it's not
level.
the half pipe, it's the one where the aliens have the gem and you have to kill them by jumping into them.
the Chaos Emeralds.
Yes.
Had to get the Chaos Emeralds.
Right. But if that had released at launch, that would have been a boon for the system. But it just goes to show that was, you had Sega of America and Sega of Japan, and they weren't talking with one another. They were at odds with one another. They were almost adversarial.
Oh yeah.
There were even reports of Sega CD1 units that were lighting on fire because they were using audio CD motors instead of ROM CD motors, the ones that can take and handle the constant access that's going on between a ROM motor. And so what happened was, with
I was gonna say I remember when we were playing like Terminator or Eternal Champions, and when it would load, you could hear like the disc spinning in it.
right.
It was like the thing had a 5-speed transmission.
This JVCXi, you can't even hear it when it's loading.
That's pretty cool.
It's completely silent.
That's pretty cool.
Not that I would know, or it still has the same loading times, right? It's not like better,
right? Because in terms of the speed of the motor and all that, that's the same. But they used high quality. They used high quality stuff. So, this is the start of that downfall. But at the same time, there were some really great things. Core Design really developed their chops on the Sega CD with games like Battle Morph and Soulstar. I can't even remember the countless others, but there were just so many games that they made. They were the preeminent developer on the Sega CD, and when you combine it with other popular games like the Lunar series, Sonic CD was the best-selling game. It had that CD sound, and it also had levels that could go into 3 different directions. There was a lot of different things that the Sega CD could do, but they pushed so far into FMV that it kind of derailed the vision of the console, because the whole idea was, well, we're just gonna record these videos and make that gaming, and that's what's gonna prevail. Yeah. And that just wasn't what that was. It was just a gimmick. It wasn't really reality. People were playing. They were playing Sonic 2. They were playing games like Star Fox by the time the Sega CD got going. Right. There were other things going on. The 3DO was coming out the next year. It was a console that arrived too late for its own good. It should have come out with the system, almost like the TurboGrafx 16. Then it would have been able to develop a little bit more traction. And it got started too late, and by the time it got started, the Genesis was already half over.
Yeah, but it probably would have been less.
Yeah. By 1995, you had the Sega Saturn that was starting. So you have the Sega CD, the Sega Genesis, the Sega 32X, the Sega Game Gear, the Sega Saturn, all at the same time. You have a dog that's crying right now because he wants to go out.
I'm like, dude, what is that? Is that in my imagination?
It has nothing to do with Sega.
It has nothing to do with Sega.
You've got some good microphones on these things.
Yeah, well, I mean, these are the MXLs. I mean, these are the pros. But,
well, yeah, they're.
But you look at this table. Look at it. It's a mess. It's a mess. And that's an analogy for what Sega was doing. At the same time that they were producing wonderful software, they were muddling it up by screwing this up. And Nintendo saw this and they said, you know what? Why can't we just create these effects in software? Donkey Kong Country lit the world on fire, and it was created on what is it called? It
was on the FX chip, I think.
No, the FX chip is
Star
Fox.
And Stunt
It was the
Stunt Race.
Yeah.
Stunt Race FX, but the Donkey Kong Country was made on the same workstation.
I don't know
that the Nintendo 64 was created with.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what.
They took 3D models and they turned them into 2D sprites, but they looked 3-dimensional.
Yeah.
Correct.
And if you look at a game like Donkey Kong Country, it's legendary. I actually was in the Donkey Kong Country
and you got the music stuck in my head
at Blockbuster. But that game was transcendent. It took the Super Nintendo and accelerated it to another level that we didn't even think was possible. At the same time, Sega's fumbling with its thumbs with the Sega CD. Right?
Oh, yeah.
It was just bad decision after bad decision. And the reason why I'm so animated about it is because I love this company, because it's my favorite company in gaming history, and because they found every which way to screw things up.
Yeah,
and Sega CD was just the first step, and then blowing it.
They had Sega CD, 32X, and Saturn all trying to come out on the same time.
All at the same time.
And they were all trying to compete against themselves. And it's like, that's what shot them in the foot.
Right. And,
It's like, you
and
can't do
Nintendo's
that.
like, you know what? I'm going to wait for the offensive line to open up this pocket, and I'm going to run right through the middle.
That's exactly
We're gonna
what
let them
happened.
destroy themselves.
Dude, I've watched so many videos of the downfall of Sega and why their downfall came, and that's exactly what you're saying, Sal.
So-
is they tried to put too much in the market at the same time, and the value just wasn't there.
It wasn't. And so to buy the system and get all the things you needed, all the cords and everything, and the power strip and everything,
You saw how much
Consumers-
crap I brought over to get this thing up and running? Yeah.
consumers were turned off. And so this is one of the reasons why they failed, and it's a sad tragedy, but it's the reality, and we celebrate the wonderful aspects of it. If you get a chance to play a Sega CD, I encourage you, if there's any one game, I would say either Sonic CD or Soul Star or
no,
both.
Terminator. Do you not have Terminator?
I have the Terminator.
You do?
Yes.
Do you have Eternal Champions?
I have Eternal Champions.
Okay. Well, no, because they were at Mom's. If you didn't have them, I was about to bestow them upon
So
you.
there are certain experiences on the Sega CD, whether you have a Raspberry Pi or you have original hardware. I encourage you guys to try this stuff because this is the weird middle ground of gaming between the 4th and 5th generation that allowed for some weird experiments, and it's really, really cool, and it's an important part of gaming history. So if you get a chance, check this stuff out because I think you'll come away with a greater appreciation and understanding of the history of gaming, especially on the Sega side. And so with that, we want to...
And what we went through growing up.
Right.
These kids today don't realize what we went through with gaming growing up.
It's very washed. It's very sterilized today. Back then, it was the Wild West.
It was the Wild West, bro.
So
the wildest.
we want to thank you guys for joining us, Jesse. I'm thankful for you for being here today.
Sal, thank you. Thank you for having
you are
me.
definitely a brother from another game show lover, and we're gonna keep in contact with you. Hopefully, if we can have you on another show, we're gonna keep in contact. But thank you so much for being here. We thank you guys for watching the show. Remember that everything that's good it starts with what comes from above, and that's the Lord. And we thank you for being here. Be safe, be happy, be healthy, and as always, keep it turbo.
Always.